just like diamonds. You're beautiful.
Beautiful. It's the skin of the killer. The skin of the killer. The skin of the killer.
Is this nigga serious?
Yeah, I'm just gonna be real with you guys. I don't understand this show. Have you ever watched a movie that is so weird, so psychologically jarring and confusing that you start to question the nature of reality itself? It's crazy. Quick breakdown before we get into things. I never watched Twilight as a kid or a teenager. I was in a conversation with a friend and this guy was so entertained by my rant about how Elena Gilbert from Vampire Diaries might be one of the worst main characters of all time. She is literally the devil. This guy then tells me, "Oh, you think Elena is bad? Wait till you see Twilight." I have no one but myself to blame for listening because on some random night when I had nothing better to do, I decided, what better way to spend this evening than starting Twilight, aka Gaslight, a decision that would later prove to be catastrophic because that's all I watched last year in July. We are now in a completely different year and I am still annoyed. This show signed no tenancy agreement, but it still lives in my head rent free. Without wasting time, I'm not going to go too much into the first movie because like the start of any cinematic series, it served as a foundation setting up the entire story and world building for Twilight as we know it. I'm just surprised I had to say world building for Twilight. Long story short, she pulls up in Forks, Washington, where Charlie, her dad, aka the only sane person in the entire movie series, lives. She walks into high school and suddenly she's the most intriguing character. Everyone wants her for some reason. I don't understand. Did these people not have transfer students before? These guys were treating her like she's some rare species of humans. And it's crazy to me because like any normal viewer, the first thing I noticed about Bella Swan was that she was so white. You know those kind of people who you meet in real life that are so white that you feel like you either just got flash banged or they could fade from existence if you do so much as touch them. Or the inverse. Bella eventually sees Edward and they have a few interactions where Edward is just being so weird. First of all, he's speaking to her, then next he's avoiding her, then he saves her from getting hit by a truck and gaslights her into thinking she hit her head when she clearly saw him stop the truck with his bare hands. Next is telling her, "Oh, we shouldn't be friends. Make up your mind, bro. Just make up your mind at this point." The worst part about this is if he had made up his mind early on, the Twilight movie series would probably have been cut down to 3 movies at most. In my opinion, that is. And I say this because it literally happens in the next movie after they had begun their relationship. The very first interaction between Bella and Edward literally goes like this. Bella walks into class and Edward starts looking at her in disgust. Like she had some rare disease, like she single-handedly caused inflation or something. And as if that wasn't enough, he proceeds to put his hand over his nose and mouth. Bro was literally gagging. That is insane work. He just keeps glaring at her. I can't take... Why is he looking at her like that, bro? I can't take this guy seriously. And for some strange reason, this girl finds it hot. Like, damn, oh my god, damn. Why is he looking at me like that? Why is this hot man gagging on my set? That's mysterious. Ma'am, that is a restraining order waiting to happen. Why, you ask? He watches her sleep, bro. This is a routine, a hobby. He's entertained by it. He started doing this way before anyone could have considered them as friends, let alone a couple. Bella finds out later on that it was a normal routine for Edward from the first moments their paths crossed, and react to all the concern of someone discovering their Uber driver likes football. Oh, nothing too crazy, huh? Just another day at the office. Okay. You barely talk to this man. Never invited him over. Your homes aren't even remotely close to each other. Do you know Edward lives outside Forks? This is just one example amongst others of Bella showing that she is unable to acknowledge any warning signs the universe throws at her. I still cannot get over how Bella Swan, a regular toxic female human protagonist, got 2 of the most powerful species of creatures in her verse to glaze and protect her. These guys were always putting their lives on the line just to make sure she was alright, bro. I don't understand. Further into the first movie, Edward invites her to his home where she officially meets the other Cullens: Carlisle, Esme, Emmett, Rosalie, Alice, and Jasper. And they eventually head out to play their version of baseball. Their fun is short-lived when 3 vampires, James, Victoria, and that weird guy, I think his name was Laurent, Laurent? I don't know, man. Pull up and ask if they could join their game. James senses there's a human amongst them and goes, "What is that? I smell human. Me hungry," and ruins the entire game. Now Bella is being hunted by him as he is a psychopath vampire that loves the thrill of the hunt, and she's scared because she doesn't want him to hurt Charlie, her father, since they later find out that James visited her home. This girl gets the brightest idea to psychologically torture Charlie into letting her leave Forks. You could have escaped at night, bro. Keep in mind that Charlie just got his daughter back. Divorce happened. Bella's mother moved away. This man spent years barely seeing his child. And this...
Bella, come on. I just got you back.
Yeah, and you know, if I don't get out now, then I'm just gonna be stuck here like a mom.
Dude, what? Look at him, look! He couldn't even move, bro. Why would you say that?
Your father's gonna forgive you.
I get that she had to do something to prevent him from stopping her from leaving, as their lives were on the line, and she would have hurt him regardless of what she said. But I did not expect her to go down that path, bro. The first movie ends with Bella in danger and James gets a little taste of her blood, but the vampire venom gets into her system in the process, and Edward saves her almost way too enthusiastically due to her near-death experience in the conclusion of the first movie. Bella's character becomes increasingly irritating and insufferable in the sequels. At the start of the second movie, Twilight New Moon, Bella is walking in a field and meets an old woman who turns out to be herself. Bella wakes up and realizes it was all a dream. This dream stems from her obsession with becoming a vampire, which started at the end of the first movie. Reasons being, number one, she didn't want to grow old. 17-year-old, by the way. And second reason was she wanted to be with Edward forever. Edward invites Bella over to his house to celebrate her birthday. She almost dies again because in the process of unboxing one of her presents, she gets a paper cut. And just like that, Bella transitions from being friend to mukbang in the eyes of the Cullen family. Jasper literally tries to eat her. This girl really loves danger on her own terms, huh? She could have died if the other vampires didn't hold Jasper back. But one thing I don't understand is why Edward had to push her so hard into the wall, which in turn caused her to get even more injured. Bella! A paper cut turned you into the Sunday special. Do you not see you shouldn't be anywhere near these creatures? Moving on, Carlisle patches her up and Bella, after experiencing yet another side hug with death, tells him that she doesn't understand why Edward won't change her. To which he explains Edward's perspective and asks her, if you were in his shoes, would you be able to take his soul?
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
And not even a few seconds after this, while Edward is driving her home, she tries convincing him to change her for the 5 millionth time and tells him that he can protect her from everything. Oh my god, bro. It was at this point that Edward asked her the question, do you not understand my feelings at all? Like, do you not understand that this is dangerous and blah blah blah, all that stuff? Dude, first of all, you're asking Bella that question, bro. You look at her, she doesn't look like there's any coherent thoughts going through her head. What did you think that was gonna accomplish? Carlisle just had a father to child-like conversation with her. Do you know how deep that question was? If someone asked me that kind of question, I'd literally start thinking about my life. At this point, part of me started to believe that she was actually more interested in being a vampire than she was being with him. But that's just a side note for now. A few days later, Edward goes to Bella's house and tells her that they need to talk. In the woods. Perfect location, bro. He proceeds to break up with her and tells her that she'll never see him or his family again, as they are leaving forever. Edward believed his presence put Bella in mortal danger, especially after the paper cut incident. Wait, no. I'm not gonna let it slide, bro. You're telling me, with all the events that happened so far, it took the Cullens, you and your family, almost killing her, for you to realize that she was in danger, bro? Now we're concerned about her safety. You know, it's like that one saying that goes, with age comes wisdom. But sometimes age just comes alone. This man is over 100 years old. You would have thought that at least one lesson would have stuck. And then she responds, no, you can't leave me. You can't. I need you, please, Edward, please. But her cries fall on deaf ears as he leaves. She runs around the woods trying to find him, even though she clearly knows he has super speed. Then she gets tired and lies down in the middle of the woods. Dog, this might sound grim, but I genuinely wish she got chased by some wild animal, maybe a bear or something. But plot armor kicks in when one of the werewolf guys finds her and brings her out of the woods. With the Cullens gone, leaving their prey, I mean Bella, she begins to exhibit even more fatherless behavior and mental instability. We see an entire montage of Bella sitting, looking out her window, just staring into nothing, just thinking about Edward, and spam emailing Alice for months on end, even though said mails weren't going through. While this is happening, she continually has nightmares and screams from her sleep. Let's do a quick check first. Bella almost got murdered by a vampire during the baseball game, got hunted across states by James, nearly died, and got injected with vampire venom in the process. So naturally, I assumed the nightmares resulted from her near-death experience. No, this girl was having nightmares because her boyfriend dumped her. That is the reason. James almost killed her, and the subconscious basically said, nah, I'd win. Nah, we'd process all that later. That wasn't even all. She started hallucinating about this guy. Bro, this is spiritual. I'm sorry, you cannot tell me that this isn't spiritual. Why are you seeing him so vividly? At some point in the second movie, her dad tells her that all the screaming at night and brooding over Edward isn't healthy, and she should actually start hanging out with her friends again, and even with Jacob, since she hadn't done any of that since Edward left. Surprisingly, she takes this advice and goes to see a movie with Jessica, but while they're going back home at night, they get stopped, or rather hit on, by these weird, dangerous looking biker guys. The issue I have with this isn't that Bella just abandons her friend. It's the fact that at this point she notices that when she puts herself in danger, Edward appears. And instead of seeking help, she goes, actually, perhaps I shall investigate this further. She's just the smartest when it comes to putting herself in danger. It's insane. You left your friend, your actual living and breathing friend, to chase a hologram. DLC Edward. Spiritual Edward. An Edward pop-up ad. Are we being serious? Jessica was so mad at her, rightfully so, but her words definitely hit a brick wall, because in the very next scene, when Bella is driving over to Jacob's place, she says, and I quote, if a rush of danger is what it takes to see him, then that's what I'll find. Jacob, please! Don't let her get on that bike. We already saw what happened. Let's move on. Let's just move on. Later on, she goes back to school and joins the friend group again. She acts like nothing happened and they're so accepting of her. Then Mike, who's been thirsty for her since day one, invites her out for a movie. But she also invites Jacob as well. After the movie, Jacob tries flirting with her. He asks her if she likes him, to which she replies, Jacob, please don't do this. He asks why. Then she says,
Because you're about to ruin everything.
in all honesty, ma'am, that was you. Repeat after me. It was 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 me. You see? You got it. Jacob tries to play it off smoothly, basically saying he will gladly wait for her and he's not going to give up. She responds saying, I don't want you to, but it's just because I don't want you to go anywhere. Look at Bella being accountable for once. Told you got it. On a serious note, if you've ever experienced a situation like this, I feel sorry for you. Some of the worst people you'll ever meet are the ones who just want to be the center of your world, your oxygen. They want all your attention, all your time, all your loyalty, but the moment you ask where you stand, suddenly everything just starts falling apart, starts buffering. They don't actually want to be with you, but they don't want anyone else to have you either. That is Bella's dynamic with Jacob in a nutshell. Every time Jacob tries to move on, Bella suddenly remembers he exists. It's so tiring to think about, bro. I can't lie. After that heck of a conversation, she kept trying to reach out to him, but he wasn't answering her calls. So she eventually goes to see him in the rain. We see our beautiful Jacob call his maid off, bro. Why did you do that? This is all Bella's fault, bro. He lost all his majestic aura, all because of her. Bro lost his mane, lost his chain, lost his game, lost everything, man. These patch notes are preposterous. Who approved these patches? She finds him and tells him,
Look, Jake, I know that I've been hurting you. It's killing me.
of course it's killing her now. Just not fast enough. Look at his face, bro. He needs help. Bro is literally going through it. Then she says, you can't break up with me. I mean, you're my best friend. What does that even mean? Then he answers, Bella, it's not you. It's me, Jacob. Bro, stop. I understand that he had just unlocked his werewolf powers and didn't want to hurt Bella like the leader of their pack did to his wife in the past. But this is when things started going downhill for him. And we'll definitely get into that. At this point, Bella has almost been hit by a truck, been hunted by a vampire, almost died, nearly got eaten at her birthday party, spent months screaming from her sleep and chasing spiritual Edward, intentionally putting herself in danger with biker strangers, and got into an accident. Warnings are basically side quest collectibles at this point. And now she goes cliff jumping.
What is your problem?
Yeah, at this point, just take your own life.
Of encouragement.
Your survival instincts are genuinely on low battery mode. It shouldn't be this bad. What is wrong with you? This isn't even the worst part about this, because after she jumps off the cliff into the water, she almost gets killed by Victoria, who had jumped into the water earlier. But Jacob saves her. Not before she gets taken out by a wave. Let's just move on. Afterwards, we get the scene where she's like, oh my god, Jacob, you're so warm. And he's like, it's a wolf thing. She's like, no, it's a Jacob thing. Stop. It was cute, I can't lie, it was cute. They're about to kiss, but she hesitates, and that ruins the whole mood for Jacob. But Jacob, you are a finished man. Do you know that? Do you know that you're a finished man? Every time I get this guy the benefit of doubt to do the right thing for himself, he goes, according to my calculations, this situation is kind of potentially, theoretically, genuinely still salvageable. Just leave, bro, please. Fast forward, Bella eventually goes to find Edward. They're together again. He tells her he didn't really want to break up with her and he had to lie, but she believed him so easily. So it's our fault, huh? Like, are we being serious? Now, there are lots of people that say Jacob and Edward aren't good for Bella. But at the same time, she isn't good for any of them. To be honest, I'm glad they kept all of this toxicity between themselves. I can only imagine how a normal, regular civilian male would cope just being in a relationship with her. Dude, it would give rise to some of the easiest crash outs known to man. So far, these are the main things I can remember that pissed me off in the second movie, which concludes with Edward and Bella driving up to Jacob, then Bella telling him that she loves him and that he shouldn't make her choose because it will always be Edward. It will always be him. Just to recap the second movie, Edward breaks up with Bella and leaves Forks for her safety. Bella loses her mind and goes into survival mode deficit. Jacob helps her recover, catches even more feelings for her while paying the price of losing his aura and sanity as equivalent exchange. Bella remains confused as always. Edward returns and everything resets. The third movie, The Twilight Saga: Eclipse, starts off with Edward and Bella in the fields. Again, he's talking to Bella about how he wants to marry her, but she says that she can't. He says it again, marry me. Then she replies with, change me. This is what I meant when I said sometimes it feels like this girl is way more obsessed with wanting to be a vampire than being with him. It gets to a part in the movie where he eventually proposes to her and there is no visible joy or sign of happiness. And to be honest, I sort of understand why she didn't see marriage as a huge thing, with her parents being divorced and her being stuck with all of that trauma for years. Also, remember how the second movie ended with her telling Jacob that he shouldn't make her choose because it will always be Edward? Now she tries reaching him because she wants to fix things, and he didn't give her the chance to by ignoring her calls. She decides to drive to Jacob's place, but Edward is terrified for some reason because he can't protect her on wolf territory. My dog! You didn't seem too worried about her safety when you left Forks in the last movie. Edward's worries fall on deaf ears, so he decides to take matters into his own hands. Edward casually admits that he broke her car just to trap her at home and force her into his Volvo. Absolutely crazy behavior, bro. We lost the plot. What are we doing? I keep having to ask this question. Things get even more unhinged at school. Jacob pulls up to the parking lot. They start growling at each other in broad daylight, and then Jacob tells her that she is the one Victoria, the redhead vampire, wants. Instead of remaining pissed off at Jacob for ignoring her calls, she Uno reverses it to Edward because she's mad at him for keeping the fact that they were trying to find Victoria a secret from her. Then she just hops on the back of Jacob's bike and rides away with him. I don't know what she sprinkled in their juice. She literally has them wrapped around her finger this bad. It is also important to note that no vampires' special abilities, none of their alts, none of that stuff, except for physical attacks, can affect this girl. What? The Volturi from the second movie couldn't read her mind. They couldn't use their powers on this girl. Where is she from? Who is she, bro? Also, Edward can't read her mind. She is so special that these wolves now also joined hands with the Cullens. Vampires, they're sworn enemies, just to protect her. There's a scene later on where Jacob tells Bella he doesn't want her to be with Edward, and that they aren't even alive, and it just makes him sick that she's trying to be with one of them, the vampires he means. Then he concludes by saying, better you really be dead than be one of them. I was so lost at this point. This is the exact moment Jacob lost me, because imagine telling the girl you claim to love that she'd be better off dead. Okay, bro, Edward is a boundary crossing creep, a stalker, we already know that, but Jacob is out here actively wishing death on her. That is insane behavior. A while after this, since Bella is still hung up on wanting to be a vampire, Rosalie tells her that she's making a mistake and she wishes someone was there to make a choice for her and tell her that she shouldn't become one. As we already know, Bella likes danger on her own terms, so she doesn't listen, and all of Rosalie's backstory just goes to waste. Now, before we move on, I need to talk about one of the scenes that finally made me understand why so many people dislike Jacob. Because up until now, I thought he was just losing the plot, and I kept blaming Bella, right? I didn't realize this guy had already misplaced the entire script. Look at this, look at this. Bella goes to see him, and they're arguing because he's upset that she's choosing Edward again. And look, I understand, I get it. I'd be frustrated too. But then this guy decides that the solution is just to grab her and force a kiss on her. Bro, what? What are we doing? Who greenlit this? Who I can't even talk. Did he watch JoJo before this? The only person I remember vividly doing this is Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Bella is literally trying to get away from him. She punches him, like actually punches him square in the face. And somehow, she ends up getting injured. How? How did you initiate the offense? Yet you're the one who took damage. The patch notes somehow keep getting worse. Then Charlie finds out what happened. And for one glorious moment, I thought to myself, finally, there's going to be a normal human reaction. Finally, someone is actually going to call Jacob out. No, the guy basically just shrugs it off. At this point, it's safe to say that no one in Forks is safe from this disease. I don't know what it is, but it is a disease, man. Further into the movie, we see that Victoria is the reason why vampires have been terrorizing Forks, and our main protagonists are thinking up a plan to counter this. Victoria manipulates this guy known as Riley Beers into making more and more newborn vampires, basically building an army that would go up against the Cullens, so she can finally avenge her dead partner, James, by killing Bella. While this is going on, Edward proposes to Bella, who is still incapable of showing any enthusiasm whatsoever.
Would you do me the extraordinary honor of marrying me?
Yes.
Yes.
That's nasty.
The day before they have to fight Victoria and Riley's vampire army, Edward notices that she isn't wearing the ring. And her reason for this is because she wants Jacob to have a clear head. Interesting. The movie progresses and it's really cold. Bella could literally die if she doesn't get warmed up. And the only available remedy is for Jacob to snuggle up with her under the same blanket, while Edward just watches. Powerless since he's a vampire and vampires are really cold. This weird scene slowly turned into one of my favorite scenes in the entirety of the first 3 Gaslight movies, mainly because I really loved the interaction between Jacob and Edward. I can't explain how much I love that scene. It felt like one of the situations where 2 bros with beef finally get the chance to talk things out. Bella doesn't die because Jacob snuggles with her the entire night, and the time to fight the vampire army finally arrives. This is a very good time to remind you that Bella Swan is literally engaged at this point. Not officially, but she's engaged at this point. I had to give that reminder because I might just lose it. Just listen to this. Edward is speaking to Bella and fully knows Jacob is listening nearby. This 100-year-old grandmaster of poor decision making casually starts talking about him and Bella being engaged. Jacob overhears it and he's like, wait, you're marrying him? And bro just leaves, storms away from both of them. Now Bella confronts Edward because he deliberately said it knowing Jacob is listening. Edward says he deserves to know. And honestly, for once, I actually agree with you, because when was the right time for him to find out? How long exactly was she planning to keep this information hidden? Bella goes after Jacob and Jacob is absolutely tweaking. This guy says, maybe I'll just let myself get killed and make it simple for you. Why is everyone in this show so toxic? Why does every conversation escalate to emotional terrorism? What are we why? Who raised you people? These levels of insufferableness don't just naturally happen. They have to have been cultivated, nurtured, carefully watered. Charlie, I'm looking at you. You're not exempted from this. Where did Bella get this from? Please, get your daughter. Take her home. Why is she here on the battlefield? What is her role? She has no ults, no abilities, no combat training, no strategy, nothing. Edward fought Victoria without Bella. Jacob fought vampires without Bella. The wolves, the Cullens, they all fight without Bella. Dude, Bella is like that one member in a group project that contributes absolutely nothing, then shows up in the final presentation standing in the front like, so what we did? I shall twist thine ear, get away from me. The only abilities, the only powers that this girl has is literally being the embodiment of emotional damage. That is her entire build. It's almost too impressive, bro. Dog, they literally brought Bella to a vampire war. The same way your little cousin insists on coming with you to football practice. I want to come too. No. What for? For what purpose? To contribute to what? Then Bella starts begging him, no, Jacob, stay. And Jacob is like, give me one good reason. I hope you're still paying attention because the train hasn't even left the tracks yet. Bella says, I don't want to lose you. Jacob says, not good enough. Then she says, you're too important. Dude. And he says, still not good enough. At this point, I was already confused. I was nervous because the camera angles were suspicious. The music, Jacob, everything was suspicious. Like, why is this music playing? This doesn't sound right. Then Bella says, kiss me. I'm sorry, what? Ma'am, do you remember that you were engaged? Did we not just establish this? And she says again, kiss me. Hey, Jesus. Bro, please. And then they kiss. Bro, I haven't shouted this much in my life. You mean you haven't even gone a week into your engagement? You cheated before officially telling your family. Bro, she didn't even let the relationship load. We're still on the loading screen. How are you cheating on the loading screen? The patches are still downloading, bro. What are we doing? Do you know the craziest part about all of this? Edward knows because he can read Jacob's mind. He knows. And this man does absolutely nothing. There is no way, bro. There's actually no way. Unless both of you are involved in some freaky masochistic side quest, bro. Why are you still here? Why are you doing this to yourselves? Why are you fighting over this girl? Leave. In fact, after that 10th scene, you guys just date each other, bro. You guys had more chemistry in 10 minutes than Bella had with either of you guys in 3 movies. Congratulations, bro. Have an amazing life together. I'm just done at this point, bro. I'm done. As you can already tell from my voice, I'm honestly done with this movie series. I don't even think I have it in me to watch the final 2, because I think I heard some people mention something about imprinting. I do not want to know what that is. I also heard some people say that Bella was a relatable character. Like, real people actually said this. You relate with Bella, and you're living in my world. Yeah, just nuke the whole
generation. If it were up to me, I would drop an atomic bomb on the whole generation.